You already know how to make money, so why aren't you making more? You've done all of the strategies, put in so much work, and built a successful business. Yet it feels like no matter what you do, you keep hitting the same income ceiling. Here's the truth. This is not a strategy problem. It's a capacity problem. I come across so many high achieving entrepreneurs who are holding on with a death grip to this belief that they are always just one more strategy away from having the breakthrough that they really crave. And the truth is that what got you here won't get you there. You didn't reach this level of success by accident. You had to learn how to master strategy, a hard work ethic, and taking aligned action. But once you reach this ceiling, a plateau, your next level doesn't actually require more effort from you. It actually requires a new version of you, a new evolution of identity. Your business isn't stuck. Your identity, your capacity, and energy simply haven't expanded to meet the level of success that you're calling in. You see, every single one of us has at our core self an identity. In fact, if someone calls you by your name, that is your identity. But your identity is not just your name. It's all of the perspectives, prior experiences you've had, the characteristics that you've developed, and most importantly, how you see yourself, the light with which you see yourself as being deserving of or important for, right? The way that you see yourself or this self concept is actually what it acts like a container for all of the experiences that you desire to have. So if you, for example, desire to see yourself going across the world speaking on stages, but you don't see yourself as a speaker, then you will not be thinking, feeling, and acting like a speaker. You see, we have everything backwards. We think like once I get booked for the speaking gigs, then I'm a speaker, when in actuality, it is embodying the traits and the being, the thinking, the feeling, really becoming a speaker that magnetizes it to you. So if you are finding that you have to force and push and work really, really hard in order to get something, at the core, that means you don't see yourself as the version of you who has what you desire. All of the things that we really desire at any given time are present. They're always, from a spiritual or metaphysical perspective, they are always floating in our field. Everything that we desire is in our field. From a non-metaphysical space, you can think of it this way. If you desire to have a specific home, all of the materials, possibly even the house itself, already exists. So our job is to recognize that we are not separate from the things that we desire to experience, and that our job is to expand our ability to receive. Anywhere that we have resistance is simply a subconscious alert that this is a place where we are not allowing ourselves to receive. So if you desire to experience a next level in income, in wealth, in success, in opportunities and connections, what this really means is that deep down there is a subconscious resistance to having and holding more. So let's talk about the real reasons why you haven't broken through yet. One of the biggest that I come across is the fear of more responsibility. It's hilarious because most of the people that get to a certain place of achievement, we have these qualities where we actually do enjoy taking on a certain level of responsibility. first and foremost for ourselves, because in order to create success, you have to get out of victim mentality to a certain degree. You have to decide that, regardless of what you've experienced in your life, you are going to choose better for yourself, and that you are not going to just be a victim to whatever circumstances come your way. However, we all have a limit to how much responsibility that we want to take. So if you have made scaling mean, oh my gosh, I have to have more clients. That means I'm going to have more people complaining. That means I'm going to have more people that I even have to deal with. It means I have to have more team members and more moving pieces, more offers. I'm going to have to be present on more social media platforms. Subconsciously, that's going to cause you to resist the expansion that you desire, because that part feels overwhelming. So if you have made your next level in income mean that you need to take on more responsibility, then you will subconsciously resist taking on that responsibility, right? And you've tied the two together. So the question then becomes, how can you, number one, perceive that you actually don't have to take on more responsibility? One of the things that I do a lot is actually shift and become aware of what your real responsibility is. Those things will help you start to expand possibilities. The next fear that comes up is actually not really, well, it's still technically a fear, but it is this guilt of wanting more. Now, all of us have in our minds like what it means to be wealthy, and it means different things to different people. However, if you have achieved what you thought wealthy meant, or what you thought success meant, and you know that there are other people who simply don't have that experience. If you are an empath at all, an empathetic person, you will feel this comes up. And this is a guilt of feeling like you have achieved what so many people dream of. As a high achiever, that's going to put you, in the top 1 to maybe 5% of people. And if you actually express some of your desire of like wanting more to people who don't get it, then they will say things like, why can't you just be content? You should like anyone would just be lucky to be you. And so you can have gratitude for all of the amazing abundance and achievements that you've created in your life, but also have a desire for expansion too. And so you'll need to work through the guilt of wanting more and start tying your desire of wanting more to what actually matters to you. Because if you just say like, I just want more money, well, why do you want more money? What is that deeper pull that's going to pull you through this challenge? The third block is the idea that more money equals more work. I work with a lot of people on this one, making that disconnect, because in your mind, you think like, I worked so hard to get here. Like making my first 100,000 was hard. Making my first million was hard. Making my first 10 million was hard. And if making this much money required that much work, how much more effort is the next level going to take? And if you're already on the brink of burnout, if you're already overwhelmed and juggling 8, then your nervous system is going to resist that, because it's trying to protect you from hurting yourself, essentially, from overdoing and overworking. So you have to make the shift and start to understand in all of the ways that you have tied money to mean work, that actually money by itself is just a representation of the perceived value and impact that we have made on other people, other businesses, other industries, so on and so forth, but other people. When you understand that that doesn't necessarily equate to how much effort you put in, you can start to be more innovative and start to see more opportunities to create wealth that aren't attached to how much effort you put in. The fourth I had to throw in, and by no means is this the entire list, but these are some of the most common ones that I see. This one is particularly one of the most important for high achieving women. And this is the relationship dynamic shift expectation. You see, I sat around this room of 7, 8, 9-figure female entrepreneurs. We were sitting around the table having a conversation around, what was the one thing that helped you break through from 6 to 7 figures? And this is, by the way, less than 2% of women ever make 7 figures at this point. Let's change that. But every single woman unanimously agreed that it was this very thing that I'm talking about here. Okay. It is this idea that if you make more, what happens to your relationships? This might be your relationship with a spouse. This might be, your fear of your potential to be like a desirable mate in the dating market. It could also be your family. I've experienced this personally. Like when you come from a family that does not have wealth, what happens to how they see you when you're making more money? And how do you navigate that? How do you navigate friendships when your regular vacations are flying to private islands and their idea of a vacation is a cruise, right? This seems very superficial, but there is a fear that becoming wildly successful, becoming, even more visible, really stepping into these greater levels of success, there's a fear that it will make you so other, such an outsider, that you won't be able to relate to people. And so subconsciously, you could be slowing yourself down so that you don't outgrow the people around you. The people around you are like your comfort zone, or even the people that you think that you want to be connected to can be your comfort zone. So you need to shift your perspective around this. And I'll also add another piece to this is that if you are a high achieving woman, what no one talks about is the fact that you're probably the first generation to create at such a high level of success. And our societal definitions of roles are changing. And so, how do you navigate the fact that maybe, if you have a male partner, that he has an idea of what it means to be a man, and that means that he has to make more money than you, and maybe he's making $300,000 a year, and you desire to be making 15 million a year, right? And how do you navigate those dynamics? These are some of the really juicy things that we get into behind the scenes in my world. So the point here is for you to understand that you're not stuck because you don't know how to make more money. You know how to make more money. You know how money works. That's what got you here, right? You're stuck because your subconscious is protecting you from what it imagines comes next. So how can you actually begin to expand your capacity and break through? The first step is that you need to redefine your relationship with expansion. You need to start to untether some of the stories that you've created around the idea that scaling means more effort. It actually can mean more ease if you allow it. If you can step into the version of yourself who is already experiencing the next level of wealth with ease. What's interesting is the actual exact strategy, the perfect, clear next step becomes obvious. It actually makes all of the other ideas around how you need to structure your team and structure your business and what you need to market, all of those questions that seem like infinite options, all of them fall away, and you're left with usually 1, 2, or 3 options that align with who you are being, with the version of you who is already living the softer life, or at least a life without overwhelm and lots of space on your calendar. The second step is that you need to identify where is your energy contracting. So where are you feeling resistance when you think about making more money? Is it in the fact that right now you have clients that you're not really enjoying? And so you think in order to make more money, it means you have to have more of those clients. I don't think you want that, right? So where specifically is that resistance coming up? Those are actually the doorways, the opportunities for you to expand your capacity. And also on an emotional level, what emotions come up when you actually imagine hitting your next level? Is it worry? Is it doom? Is it like a fear around being your family's ATM? Pay close attention to the subtle emotions that are coming up for you. Step 3 is you need to expand your capacity to receive and hold more. So instead of asking the question, how do I make more money? You need to ask, how can I expand my ability to hold wealth, power, and ease at the same time? Now, this is on a mindset level, but also in your body. How can you feel safe with more in your body? One of the things that you've got to be really mindful of is if you jump too far, too fast, and make a quantum leap, right, before you've actually prepared your nervous system and your identity for that experience, you will collapse, unfortunately. So what you want to do is, I call this micro shifting. You want to pay attention to what is the 1% aligned action that I'm taking every day that is, just outside my comfort zone, but is helping me to get more and more comfortable with that level of wealth, with those kinds of experiences that come with it, and so on and so on. So your next level of wealth really is not about doing more. It's about becoming the version of you who holds it with ease. So this is the work that we do inside of my world every single day in my high proximity spaces. So if you are interested in learning more about how you can receive support in transcending your wealth ceiling and making it your new floor, you can either visit my website, theroyalshaman.com/apply, or you can DM me directly on Instagram with the word apply. If this message resonated with you, please be sure to share it with a friend. And I'd love to hear your feedback and any questions that you might have that I can go into further detail on. Until next time.